And good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, depending on where you are in the world. This is PNR for Thursday, June 12th, 2024. I'm your host, Rob Acampora. Boy, as always, another crazy week has happened. And coming up in this episode this week, we're going to a lot of different places, from Russia to Cuba to the White House, over to, well, where we always go with the Royals, and then some fun news that has come out of Australia. I'll explain that a little bit later. As we bring in the panel, we always start with this. And the poll that's going on Rick's Tie that you can always vote for ahead of time is that everybody's saying royal blue for Rick. Rick, come on out and let's see what you got. That is not royal blue.
It is
not even
red.
Close.
It is red.
I tell you, it is a very good look. Not many people, and they do say this, by the way, real men can pull off pink. Rick Paul can pull off pink. No question
Certainly
about
can. Comfortable with my feminine side, Rob.
We all, and this is something I learned a long time ago. There's nothing wrong with being in touch with your feminine side. So long as it does, depends on who you are. I'm in touch with mine. You're in touch with yours. This is all a good thing. Speaking of feminine, we have two women who are coming in today. We go to Florida and check in with Debbie, who is returning to the panel. Welcome back, my dear.
Hi, everybody.
And our usual co-host of hostesses from Command Central North, we'll say, in New Jersey, Annabelle is here.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
I think we're ready for what is going to be an exhausting trip in time for the next hour plus, because, as usual, another crazy week. And we're actually going to start in Cuba, of all places. Here we go. If you haven't heard already, Russia is conducting military exercises off Cuba. The presence in Cuban waters is being viewed as a show of force amid growing Western support for Ukraine. So already it raises two major questions. One, how real is this potential threat? Two, what might be needed to turn the temperature down a notch on this situation? With that in mind, Annabelle always has the cards ready on a sloppy shuffle, I'm sure. And here we go.
So I hate to say it, guys, but I think we're in a very delicate situation here. Now, I've been saying for a while that if Russia decided to flex a little bit, they were probably going to bring us something close to the Cuban Missile Crisis. I don't think we're quite there yet, but I think we're approaching it. I've got temperance here, which is a very delicate balance. Judgment here. The judgment card in tarot it depicts Judgment Day, the rising of the dead. So I think that the world has simultaneously been a little bit fearful of the rise of Russia, and at the same time has said that they are not the superpower that they once were. I think this is a huge flex move on the part of Putin and the Russian government. We've got the Empress card in reverse. That means they don't care. We're at the point where collateral damage is not going to really make a difference. I think a statement is going to be made. Patience, our strength card, is in reverse. That is in reverse, and we are out of patience. The justice card, too, is in reverse. So we're really a little bit worried about that. So I'm going to give you the dominant energy here is the world. This is our defining moment. And under the surface, we have the star in reverse, which is not very hopeful for the future. I did use the Hydesville Tarot, the major arcana deck, on this, because I do think that this is a very, very intense moment in world politics and world history. So what do we do to get out of? Let's have some of my cohorts comment on this as well.
Before I throw it to everybody, Annabelle, go back to the judgment card that you were talking about, and also the card that was talking about out of time. From interpretation purposes, could this be interpreted as the potential, let's say, I hate to say it this way, but the beginnings of WW and Three Eyes?
We run into potentially a situation like that, in my opinion. Yes, potentially a situation. With that temperance card at the beginning, it really depends on how everyone handles themselves moving forward.
It's a very interesting point. Rick, I'm going to come to you, looking at it from your perspective, not necessarily through the cards, but what you're feeling.
I'm going to be honest. It's an uneasy feeling with it, and looking at those cards. And as you know, I work with energy, and the feeling of energy in my throat is that the diplomats are really going to earn their money over these next few months. I'm going to slightly sort of pull back on whether we're at the W and the three eyes bit there. I'm feeling that there's quite a scope, quite a margin for error at the moment. And my hope is these days there's going to be a lot of posturing, of course, because that's the nature of politics and world government. But when it comes down to it, so the military in Russia don't have all of the capabilities that they claim to have. It's old stuff, it's old tech. The bit of history research that I was doing on that was that they're not as modern. So you've got that scope there where people are going, is it calling your bluff? Is it sort of making these things up to be a lot bigger? But when I look at those cards there, and this is with Annabelle's teachings there about when we're looking at reversals, there's a lot of reversals in there. And I'm just thinking, so there's something that's tied up there. It's uncomfortable. So my thoughts are on it. The diplomats and the people that are behind the scenes, not just the front players, are really going to have to work hard, because this, I feel, is a real pivotal moment there. A lot of deception and possibly disillusionment in the background. Will it come to something in the end? Potentially. On a worldwide scale, not entirely convinced.
Interesting thoughts. Deb, before I come to you, Anna, I want to know if we can do one thing here, because you talk about the temperance card, which was the first card that came out, and knowing how we're dealing with the temperature with everything that is going on. Could you put some associated cards around that to determine how do we temper this up? Or is it going to temper up or temper down? Better way of putting it.
So, again, when we're talking about tarot, we're talking about the dominant energies, the most fluid and possible energies around it.
Okay.
So as we do this, what is going to be the magic solution for the temperature to come down?
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So we have the Eight of Cups in reverse and the Four of Swords in reverse and the King of Swords in reverse. So that Eight of Cups is, I usually describe the Eight of Cups as an individual leaving a difficult, a moderate situation for possibly a more difficult situation in the future, or a challenge in the future. So this is, leaving a very plain, normal house that doesn't require a lot of extra work and moving into like a second empire Victorian that needs a ton of work and gingerbreading and all kinds of restoration. It would be going from something very comfortable like that into something that kind of, it's a stretch goal for you. So this is about not tackling that stretch goal, not putting the bar a little bit higher, keeping things very chill, keeping things very calm. So that's solution one. Solution two is rest and recover. Okay, that Four of Swords is rest and recover. Let's not raise those voices. Let's get to a place where all emotion is gone. The swords are always our logic. We always want to look at things with a very, very logical, platform first. So you want to be logic forward. So the King of Swords in reverse is a liar, though. This is an issue. So everyone's going to have to not show all their cards and their weaknesses. So, this is a very, very touchy situation. I am going to do some remote viewing on this as well. While my cohorts are doing some readings on this, I'm going to dip into it and see if I can get anything in the remote realm as well, if that's okay with you guys.
And while that's going on, Deb, I welcome you back. And boy, did I just throw a lot on your plate right out of the gate.
Well, when Anna threw down the first spread, immediately like a chessboard came to my mind. And this is, I have to agree with Rick. I don't feel this is a like, God forbid World War III is coming. This to me is like a chess game, and Putin just said, excuse me, allergies. I live in the allergy capital of the world. Putin just kind of went, okay, enough is enough, and he's like the bringing all his, it's like a schoolyard fight. You got one side and the other, and he's just like, all right, enough is enough. And I get that feeling that I don't think either side wants it to escalate, but I think Putin is saying, all right, you know, we've got to, and I agree also with Rick that, yeah, the diplomats are going to earn their money on this one. It's like a chess game. And it's sort of like a warning shot, okay, enough is enough. We've got to dial this back. That's what I'm feeling.
To me, I will use it in terms of poker. Putin has decided with his hand he's going to raise, and he's pushed, let's say, half of his stack into the middle. Now he's forcing everybody to look at it and say, are we going to call this? Is he bluffing? What does he hold? And that's the brilliance of high-stakes poker. And that's what this is definitely turning into, a match of who's going to be the first to shove all in. That's going to be the other question.
So I'm going to just interrupt for 1 second, guys, because I am doing I'm doing a coordinate remote view on this, which requires me to write and draw a little bit. Sure. Everyone knows how badly I draw. I'm saying this right now. There are more subs than we know. There's a lot more subs than we know. Of course. So, that being said, I also want to tell everybody, if you're not watching on the Psychic News Report channel, migrate on over there. Give us a like. Give us the watch hours over there. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs quicker than Russia parks their subs in our neighboring water. So get on over there, and I'm going to keep reading on this. More steel is coming too. We're going to see more ships coming over. We're going to see more stuff showing up, guys. So everybody just kind of buckle up. Yeah. If my fellow psychics disagree on this ramping up, I think we're gonna right now. I think Putin is ready to bring the noise. I think he is ready to bring the noise. So.
It's like the Cuban Missile Crisis on steroids right now, 2.0. I mean, I'm dating myself now. I was little when all the first, happened, and I really didn't understand a lot of stuff. I just remember, my parents freaking out. And I think, this is, I'm going to take back the chess. I think I'm going with the poker. I like that better. That makes more sense. Chess is too hoi polloi. Pardon me. It's poker. Yeah. It's definitely poker.
I'm also getting, guys, that the American administration is really scrambling to make sure that Biden does not have. They're trying to keep Biden quiet. They're trying to not let him make any off the cuff comments about this. There's a lot of busyness on the American international diplomatic side. There's a lot of frenzy in a number of rooms right now in our government, but they're really, really trying to keep him quiet. I almost feel like they're kind of pushing him toward the Hunter situation, which we're going to be covering a little bit later in the show, so that he stays out of this, and they're letting some other individuals handle this. I'm not exactly sure who. Again, I'm doing a really quick remote view on this. I do think that on Russia's side, there is a consensus on this movement over into Cuba and to kind of flex. I keep getting the image of Putin on the horseback shirtless, because this really is flexing. He really, really is flexing. And as Brown Eyed Lady just said, this is in direct response to the actual deployment of those American made weapons of war. I can't say it any other way. So I'm not trying to scare everybody, but I do think that we're in a little bit of a situation here that needs very, very diplomatic handling. So
and we do not need more images of Putin bare-chested on horseback.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
don't we? Doesn't
Yeah.
the world need that?
No.
No.
No, that ranks right up there with the song that I used to remember. What the world needs now is another folk singer like I Need a Hole in My Head. Moving right along.
What?
So,
Since you did, by the way, I should mention, don't be surprised if this pops up in another episode here on PNR during the week as we will continue to watch the situation develop. With that in mind, since Hunter Biden was brought up by Annabelle, perfect segue to kind of go right there into our second topic of today. And here's the situation, as you may have found out earlier this week, just a couple of days ago. He was found guilty on 3 federal gun charges, and the White House has not ruled out commuting a sentence for him. Now, Dad has indicated no pardon as of this moment. Now, couple of things to keep in mind here. Never before has a sitting president's immediate family member been found guilty of a crime during their term in office. But then again, we've also found for the first time a former president being indicted on charges. So welcome to History 101. With that in mind, Joe has also held his son close throughout his ordeal. He has not shied away from being a father while also being the president. But I'll bring up another point here before we go to the cards. Justice Manual 9-140 subsection 113 states this: a commutation of sentence reduces the period of incarceration, but it does not imply forgiveness of the underlying offense. So he could be commuted, he'd still be guilty, but there's still the possibility that, well, if the president is still the president, and maybe, let's say, I'm playing the hypothetical now, he's not reelected, what would stop him from giving a full pardon to his son? A lot of avenues to go down here as we take a look at the cards.
well, does it really matter if
Why say that?
It doesn't really matter if he commutes the sentence or pardons him. We all know what we know. The problem of the laptop is that we were told it was disinformation, and now the laptop has been admitted into court and it's been proven that it's right. So
okay, but again, right now he's not up on charges on the laptop, he's up on charges on the gun.
But the laptop was admitted as evidence.
Mm-hmm.
So the laptop was admitted as evidence to show that he was using substances. But if the laptop was admitted and it was permissible in a court of law, doesn't that bring into question the validity of it? And that becomes the validity of the information that was pumped out about it being disinformation. That's just my point. What question are we asking directly here, Rob? Is he going to commute this sentence?
I think that's got to be the thing we got to look at here, because again, when you look at the fact that presidential immunities have been handed out over the years, probably the biggest one we've seen probably in our lifetime, go back to when President Ford was leaving office and he pardoned Nixon. And a lot of people believe that the pardoning of Nixon was part of the thing that probably cost Ford the election back in 1976.
You think that was it?
I think, honestly, if you look back on history, if you look back on it, when we get into the 76 to 80 Carter presidential run, a lot of things went wrong. And even President Carter has admitted to that. But if you look at beforehand, it was one of the closest races going on. Ford barely did win the nomination in 76 to a guy you may recognize, Ronald Reagan. He was the sitting president, but he was brought into office, as we know, because Nixon resigned. Now, in a close election, in a situation where he decides to give Nixon the pardon, it didn't fly with everybody. It was enough to sway the election, if you look back on history.
Sure. So I did pull some cards. Rob, who are we going to first?
Rick, I know you don't always look at the cards, but I'm sure you followed a little bit of the Biden situation, although we all know your take on American politics and what you're dealing with enough in your politics in your country, for God's sake. But what's your sense here?
Well, as I explained last week about how I generally work, it's like throwing a tennis ball out into the universe and then taking it back and having a look what's actually written on the tennis ball. And while you guys were talking, as you know, my knowledge of most politics, to be honest, can be written on the back of a very small stamp. But my feeling was that it's like a political hot potato. What role is your president going to play? Is he going to lean towards being dad and doing to protect his offspring? Or is he going to be the president that realizes that there's a lot of eyes on him that are wanting him to make the right, in inverted commas, decision? So it's one of them for me where I'm going, has he actually got a choice? You know, we're sort of speculating here whether he will do it or not. But has he actually got that sway? Because as a dad myself, my kids are number one, and I will be doing everything that I can to protect them. But I'm not in that position of power. So if he was in the position of power that he is he going to be allowed to make his own decision? I can't quite see the cards, Annabelle, so I will have a look at those as well, if you can draw
Certainly,
those up.
my good sir.
Right, I'm just looking. Oh dear, I just went right, and again, I've got to remember the terminology with you so that we don't get into trouble before we even start. But I'm drawn to the card on the right hand side there as I see it, and I'm just going, we're in the middle of an ish storm, right? And nobody's going to come out of this unscathed. You know, I'm looking at there with the Knight card, and I say this every week on most things. For me, money talks. You know, is there an element of disappointment there with him about what has happened? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to come down on the side of looking after his family. Now, what I will pose is, will that be enough to get enough people to distrust him and oust him out that way? You know, if it was me, I'd stand there in front of a firing squad to protect my family. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what his motivation is at the moment, because, as I say, I don't look at politics at all. I'm looking at the Sun card there, and the Sun card brings positivity to any reading as far as I'm concerned. And we've got the Moon there, which has got illusions and deceptions in the background. So are we actually seeing the full and true story at the moment? And then what have I got there? Have I got which one is in reverse? I've got to ask the question, which one's in reverse? Second in.
Yes. That is our King of Pentacles.
I'm sticking to my guns with this one. His hands are tied. What he wants to do and what he'll be able to do, I think, again, like we've said many times about this guy, we've got this feeling, I think some of us, that there is other things going on with his mental health conditions. He's a figurehead, so who is actually pulling the strings at the moment? I think it's a very difficult situation where nobody's going to come out of this shining and brand new. I think it's a big-ish storm, and we haven't heard the last of it yet.
Yeah. Rick, you brought up some great points there, and I think that's part of the internal struggle that's going on here. Whatever you feel about Biden, he's been a proud father. He's been a proud family guy. Even when he was senator, he was commuting back and forth from Wilmington, Delaware to D.C. off the train. That says a lot about his character and as a human being. But now it becomes the struggle, as Rick brought out, the father versus the figurehead, and all the other underlying factors that are going on here. Again, welcome back, Deb. You're walking into this ish storm. What do you got?
Well, Anna and I did a featurette, and my little spidey sense was going off, and I still say that Hunter took one for the team, because I agree with his hand. Biden's hands are tied. He really can't do what he would like to do, because 45 was found guilty, and all the pundits are screaming, well, you can't be above the law. No one's above the law. So I really, really believe that he's I still think Hunter had some. He took one for the team, and he's going to have to do time, unfortunately. But what was that? You do the crime, you pay the time.
Yeah, the famed line from Beretta.
Yeah.
Don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
Wait. We're not bringing up Bobby Flake.
Yes, I just
Yeah,
put
I got it
Robert Blake
wrong.
on the panel. Yes, I did.
But,
I don't know
yeah,
if that was politically correct to go Robert Blake on the panel, but that's another story.
hey, that's okay.
Wasn't he Beretta? He was Beretta,
He
wasn't
was
he?
He was
Beretta.
Beretta, but he
Yeah,
also
okay,
was
I
the
got
one
it
that
right.
wanted to.
All right, not
Yeah.
having a senior moment here.
We won't get into his life because there was a lot of crazy crud that happened later on. Anyway.
But yeah, he's unfortunately, if Biden were to pardon his son, it would be an ish storm. It really would. So he can't.
I think what's interesting is you saying taking one for the team. So you think there's a bigger process here by taking this.
Yes.
It deflects from potentially other stuff, especially with the fact that the first debate's coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
and we
this
know.
is, yeah. Oh yeah.
Go ahead, Deb.
No, I was just saying. Yeah, there is something more to this, and he has to take he has to take one for the team. I'll just leave it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. Annabelle, you got the last shot at this. What do you got?
So, a little bit of a different perspective here.
Okay.
You know, I think that Hunter is very emotional and excited about this behind the scenes. I think he's very angry about it. I think he is stamping his feet. I think there's a fix it kind of attitude coming out of him. And unfortunately, the president is saying, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. They all agree that this shouldn't have happened. Now, does that mean that this is not a crime? He lied on a federal form. So, my family, we live in New Jersey. We've taken full advantage of the new Second Amendment rules and regulations that we have here. So I did fill out those forms and I had to answer them correctly. And I had to have individuals that vouched for my person and my morality, essentially. There were very, very specific questions on there that I had to answer. And not just considering, illicit substances, our legal substances, they asked you about that as well. So I think lying on that form and having it go through, and I don't know what the process was in that particular location, but I do think that is a tremendous irresponsibility on his part. But I think that the arrogance here is what comes into play, that they're very like, oh, well, it shouldn't have happened. Oh, next time, if we'd only done it this way. So I do think that things are being covered with this moon card. I think they are kind of kicking some dirt over some things like, oh, we'll just shake it out. Everything's going to be fine in the end. So I don't think he's going to really see a lot of time that he has to do here. Is he going to be commuted? I think this is going to be like a Paris Hilton thing. Didn't Paris Hilton do 1 day in jail or 24
Something
hours
like
or
that,
like
yes.
48 hours?
Community service, lots of community. Yeah, not a lot, but I should say
Yeah,
a chime of community service.
I think we're going to see something like that. Under the surface, though, I'm going out on a limb here. I do think he's going to get the pardon when his dad is done with office. I think he's going to exit with a pardon. So, and I did not get that in my reading with Deb. So again, with us psychics, how we have to look at the psychic readings that we're doing, it is, and this is how I really describe it. The climate is the details, the facts, and the figures that we come with, the standard MSM news. But when we go into psychic, we can see what the energy is at the time, and we can also say what they should do in order to rectify the situation. So just to make it a little bit more interesting, I'm going to throw down some cards just to see what they need to do to rectify the situation. And I'm very curious what my cohorts have to say. I will pull up the card view in just a second. We could do this real quick. I've got lots of twos on the table, guys. Lots of twos. So 2 of swords in reverse, 2 of pentacles in reverse, and 2 of cups on the bottom. I think Deb's onto something. What they're going to do is it's going to be a different partnership here because they've been given 2 hard decisions here. Do we say yes? Do we do our time and get quiet about it? Do we, do our time, bite down? I didn't mean bite like the pillow or anything like that, because I don't think he's going to be in that kind of prison. But, I went there. But I think this is an opportunity to not coddle. We're gonna see some skin knees on this, and then we're gonna get him home as quickly as possible. So, and again, that lover's card, we can count that as a 2. We're gonna break away. So this is gonna be breaking away from the norm. He's going to ask for that pardon eventually. What do you two think, real quick, Rick and Deb?
I'm just looking at it from this perspective, that when it's going through my head, I think every family has got that one person in there that when you go to a party that you're going, ooh.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what I feel with it is blood's always thicker than water. So that whatever happens, whether he comes home a little bit sort of blooded and battered or pillar bite or whatever you just described it as, which has scrambled my head completely. But whatever happens, he'll be welcome back into the fold. And I think ultimately it might just shock him into that, coming down to the real world perspective, that out there that nobody's above the law, unless you believe all the conspiracy theorists, that is. But yeah, I don't think that ultimately it's going to be any massive hoo-ha or anything like that. So the potential of him turning up with a press gang there and taking a photo of him as he has his prints done, and he'll sit down and have a brew down in the holding cells and then be sent home on his way again in a chauffeur-driven car somewhere, and that'll be it all done.
Yeah, but you're right, though. But you're right. Everybody's got that person in the family. But why is that person usually cousin Fred? That's what I'm trying to figure out here.
Apparently over here.
Deb, you got the last word.
I think he's gonna do time, and I really don't think he's gonna. He's, like I said, he's got to do this, because if he gets his sentence commuted, I think all this other little stuff is going to come out, and they don't want that. So I really think I'm going to disagree. I think he's going to have to serve his time, as they say.
The only thing I can say, and I get the last word on this spread, put it back up one more time, Annabelle. You pointed out that there were a lot of deuces. There were at least 3, even one card you said could have also been a deuce. So there would have been 4 twos in that spread, right?
You got it, sir.
Well, then I'm all in. I got 4 of a kind. We're done. Push those cards out. I've won the bet. Moving right along. We go to
I don't
next
play
topic.
poker. I don't have a poker face. You would lose money on me.
Let's put it this way, Deb. If you had that hand, I would have figured it out, and I would have been like, I'm folding. I'm going to take a break, and I'm not losing any more chips. That's it.
And I would go, oh my God. And then that would be it. I would lose.
Right. You'd be going, oh my God. You'd be going, I check. I'd be like, yeah, okay, check to you too. Fine.
Yeah, so that's why I don't play cards.
Smart. All right, we go to our third topic, and Deb is going to give us some information on this, but this recently happened. Deb, let me set you up a little bit. Health guru, British TV doctor Michael Mosley was found dead in Greece on Sunday. What else do you know about all this?
What I could find out was that he went on and I'm going to probably butcher the Greek, but I'm going to try not to. He went on a 2-hour walk. This was on June 9th on Sunday from Nicholas Beach. I can't pronounce the first one. Agrios Nicholas Beach, where he set off. He was going for a walk. The police think he died around 4 p.m. local time, which would have been 9 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday. On Wednesday, which was June 5th. And that's the day he went missing. And they said he was, it just struck me because the initial autopsy, they said, was he was found near a fence, sort of sitting backwards, like falling backwards. There was no injuries to his body. And I don't know, it just struck me as, all right, this man's a doctor. I didn't pick up that there was any kind of internal problems, but I just found it kind of fascinating because here you go on vacation and you're dead. And so I wanted, I brought it up to Anna. I said, I really would like to find out what happened to this man, because it just seems odd to me. And my little brain was was going off when I read the story. So
Deb, I'll put it in terms that you've said before. Your spider senses were tingling.
yeah, it just didn't make sense to me. So I'd like to see what we could find out.
Anna, you got a spread for us. What do you see?
She's got herself on mute.
Anna, you muted yourself.
Sorry, guys. My my mic was off for a second.
That's why I was pointing at the ears. I was trying to be professional. How stupid of me.
Sorry, dude. So one of the things I did the spread on this, but I'm also doing the remote view on it. What we can do when we remote view is we can go into mechanicals, we can go into physical bodies, those kinds of things. I'm getting there's some kind of congestion here, and that he was. And when I say congestion, I don't mean like our seasonal cold congestion. There's a tightening here, and that's sometimes what we feel when there is a systemic issue. So I'm going to be honest. I really do think that this was something that was mechanical in him, and it almost feels like he couldn't catch his breath. But I'm feeling blockage. I'm suspecting this was some kind of a cardiac or if it's in this area, it just feels like something went wrong here. And it froze up. Everything kind of froze up. So I'm thinking like cardiac, and he couldn't breathe as a result of that. I don't think that this was an ill-timed death. And what do I mean by ill-timed? Because everyone's death is ill-timed if you ask them.
Right.
When we make our decision to come to this incarnation, we sit with our spiritual HR director. That's how I call it. We sit with them and we decide how long we're going to live, what kind of lessons we're going to learn, what kind of people we're going to interact with from our soul groups. And included in that is when we're going to exit. So there are situations where we exit at the appropriate time, the time that we scheduled. And that could be a cataclysmic accident for the people around us. This very much feels, with that Six of Swords up at the top, that this was an appropriate time. With the Page of Cups on the bottom, I think he was ready to go. He was at peace, and he just kind of tra-la-la'd right out of the body. With the Knight of Wands, he's already working on getting into the next lifetime. So, I just think that this was more planned energetically than we would like to think. But Deb, I'm curious what your cards have to say.
Well, see, that was the thing. I did this yesterday. I threw some cards down to see, and I got a totally different. I don't know if I should go there.
No, you can go there.
All right. I got that he made it somehow to look like an accident, but he didn't want to, because he didn't want to have the label, and I'm being very careful in what I say because of YouTube, and he didn't want to stress his family out, and he just didn't want to go on anymore. And I might have been really off on that. I don't know, but that's the feeling I was picking up. And so, the card that stands out to me is the Six of Swords. And it's like he's going on a journey. He just didn't want to be here anymore. And I don't know. I could be way off on this, but that's what I was feeling, And I said I went down a rabbit hole on that one.
It's totally fine. As psychics, we all have different opinions at time. Not to plug my other program, but Friday night I'm doing Dueling Tarot with Alicia Wicker, who's an amazing reader herself. We have very different opinions about some of the topics that we cover, and we still, get along just great. And we do readings together, and we have a good time. So, Deb, I think it's totally fine if you are thinking that there's a little bit of a different opinion here. In essence, I mean, we both could be right here. He could have made the decision to exit and did it very peaceably. I'm just feeling that there was something that was gripping him here now. But I also feel that he was very content with the exit. So, we could be right on this.
Yeah, I the feeling I got yesterday was that he just didn't want to give his family any more, I didn't want to give his family any issues, and he just wanted to I guess exit quietly. And I didn't pick up any I'll be very curious to see what the official autopsy, because they just did I would really like to, because I didn't pick up any internal injuries. I was picking up more that he had some financial troubles, and he just didn't want to burden his family. That's what I picked up. So I don't know. Like I said, I could have went down the rabbit hole.
Rick, I'm going to give you the last word on this. And by the way, being that he was seen a lot on the BBC, if you can give us if you have any information as far as if you knew Michael Mosley's popularity over there, I'd appreciate some info if you have it.
He was a popular guy. My first question when I heard about it, that they'd found the body, was, had he said anything controversial? Because it's a sad indictment of today's society that people can have that opinion that people are being deliberately sidelined or taken out or anything like that. And so my wife and I had a discussion about it, and we've watched quite a few of his programs, and he's an upbeat guy that wants to help people naturally process illnesses, but diet and exercise and supplements and all of that sort of thing. So the only bit that I thought that would be potentially controversial was if there's a big pharma company that's involved in it that doesn't want him to speak. And then I dismissed that as a bit too tin hat for me. And then I went into the sense of just feeling with it. Now, when you mentioned about the heart attack, the image I got into my head was like, firstly, I heard that I overestimated my fitness, right? And I made a mistake. So I'm going to slightly disagree with you, Debs, because I was just listening into my monkeys up there, that I think he'd got an underlying health condition, that he was monitoring himself with being a doctor. He'd got the knowledge of what was going on, but he didn't want to worry anybody else. I'm not getting anything about the financial, but we could be proved to be right either way. But the sense there that when he got out there, he overestimated just what it could take out of him. Because I can't believe a doctor would go out into such heated conditions without having adequate drink and whatever you need when you go out.
Yeah.
I got it round here, and
that's what I'm getting too. It's really odd, right?
Two things sort of sprung into mind. I saw a dial on a boiler going like over pressure, and I felt that maybe it was an aneurysm or something that popped, and something went on with the throat. And I don't know enough about medical, so please forgive me for my imagery. That he either swallowed blood, or he, for want of a better word, he actually drowned in his own juices. I can't think of a more correct.
Aspirated on blood. Yeah.
Or maybe on his own vomit. And when they're talking, because there was something thrown out actually on the TV, so it's got to be true, hasn't it? That he was an advocate for younger blood, right? And I'm not talking about any abuse or anything like that, but injecting younger blood. And this was actually on the news, and I looked at that and I thought, somebody's got to throw that in the pond, haven't they? And I just felt when I didn't bother reading into it, because I just thought that's a misdirection, because my feeling was with him that he'd overestimated and he basically conked out. And I didn't pick anything else other than that. I'm not quite convinced about the natural causes thing, because I think that there was prior knowledge. You don't get that high up in sort of doctors and medical knowledge without knowing a thing or two. So I think he's gone
Well,
out on his own terms.
when I
but
said
he's
natural,
mate.
I meant that nobody kind of
Right.
assisted him along that
No.
path.
I'm not getting that at all. Not at all.
No,
I feel
didn't-
like he.
I didn't
I
get
actually
any of
feel
that
like he
either.
drowned, but on dry land. That's my feeling. Something went wrong up here because I saw the boiler going up that overpressure, and something happened. And how it was put to me was a catastrophic ending.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a painful ending. It was just like when it happened, and I think he already knew about it. Something in there. I really do. I would get the feeling there was something going on in the background that he wouldn't worry his family about, because he's definitely a family man, 100%. So don't get anything nasty going on in the background, but he knew something.
Very
Yeah.
interesting conversation there. And I got to say this, I learned something here. I never knew that you can pretty much, whatever is in the psychic universe, predict your expiration date, because I have it down to September of 2076. And whether or not I'm going to make it is another story, but that's my plan to exit.
Don't say that. No. Don't. Remember what happened when Anna said, "Oh, I wish I had some time so I can read some books," and then she got sick. Don't say
And
that.
I was so
Well,
sick,
look, I
couldn't
say
even read my book.
2076. I'd be
See?
over 100 years old at that point.
No, don't do that. No.
So in other words, I can't pull a snagglepuss and go exit stage left.
No.
With that.
No.
Thank you, Rick.
No, I will not let you do that.
We're going to move on to Annabelle's favorite thing, and we will never be royals. Thank you very much. Harry and Meghan, baby number 3. What's going on, Annabelle?
Oh, for Pete's sake. So,
Right.
this chestnut keeps getting pulled out every time they get into a little bit of a sticky wicket.
Yes.
So, we had it right after they left. Right after they left Canada, after they had Lily, they keep dropping this on us. So, I think we're going to get through it. Now, we're not going to debate, the how and why this baby may or may not come about.
But it does sound like a conspiracy theory. Like, hey, we're a little short of money. Oh, by the way, we're registered at Gucci. Go ahead, get us some gifts. Like,
Yeah.
Right. And they also...
Didn't they win an award for having just 2 children?
Yes, they accepted an award for restricting their progeny to 2 children because it's better for the planet. But Elon Musk disagrees on that. So there's also
but it's not Elon Musk that's giving them the award, so whatever.
There's also discussion about them moving back to England, shopping for a home in England.
Good, go. We don't want you anymore. Go.
I don't think Rick wants them either.
Rick is like on, look, and again, let's put this in perspective. Like we've always said, this is for entertainment purposes. But we're also looking at their idea of squalor versus our idea of squalor, which is 2 completely different chains of thought.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have enough nutballs here. We don't need any more. Go. I'll even pack for you. Go.
Batten them back. Batten them back and returning it over the net.
Exactly.
Good
Rick,
Lord.
don't you want them back? Like, it's one more. As my sister-in-law said, one more to keep.
What is this, Wimbledon? Who's winning the tennis match? What?
I still think that there is an island somewhere that is vacated right now that a financier once owned here, an American guy. He was friends with the Clintons. They could buy that island. They could be the Duke and Duchess of Celebrity Island.
Whatever. Yeah.
They could do that.
How about Prince Edward Island in Canada?
No, we don't want to piss off Canada. No, we don't want to make them mad at us. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to UK, but no, take both of them. Ugh, enough.
So let's stick to: is this a legitimate bebe on the way? So I've got this is good for business. The 10
Yeah.
of Pentacles here, good for business. But I'm going to get a little randy here, so cover your ears, earmuffs if you're a little delicate.
Oh, behave.
Oh, behave.
Yeah.
When we talk about wands, we've got a bunch of wands here. Wands are fire energy. They're super sexy. They're super aggressive when it comes to getting down and dirty. Our Knight of Wands is upside down, so I don't know if there's much happening in that department.
Oh, I
That
want to
doesn't
say
mean he's
something.
having
No,
an
I can't
issue.
do it.
This isn't an infomercial for anything, but I just think that maybe they're not hitting it off when the
No.
lights go down. So,
No.
not singing the Pina Colada song or anything like that, but I
You like
think
pina
that
colada.
when the lights go down, they're just not very interested in each other.
No.
Deb, or Rick, I'm gonna kick it over to you. Do you think you're getting a royal baby, another royal baby, another in the line of succession?
It gets to the point when you just admit you're fame hungry. You just want any little attention that you can get. I mean, we went through this absolute, I don't know, I'm trying to be polite here and keep up my British stiff upper lip, darling. But when we were talking about this 300 jar of jam that she was putting out, she'll flog anything. So whether there's a baby or not, there's actually a story. But she's already got her hooks into him, whatever. So one more ain't going to make any difference one way or the other. He's not getting rid of her anytime soon. So it's, I'm sorry. It sounds really horrible when I come across with this, right? But I'm telling the truth. It gets to the point where you go, I'm just not interested, lovey. Just go in the corner and do something constructive with your time. You know, you're looking for attention for something. Please cut to the chase and say what we can do to pay you off or not hear from you again in any way, shape, or form. What do you need? We'll even do a GoFundMe to get you an island so you can just bugger off there and take your TV's drama land away. And I know that's not very professional of me, but let's just sort of just go with it. Gut feeling, top of the head, tennis ball out there. Yes, another baby on the way. How's that? That's as simple as I can keep it.
So I'm actually trying to get. Forgive me for interrupting me, Anna, but I mean, you're literally making a point earlier about and you were trying to delicately say that he can't hit it. I'm like going, there is a endorsement deal for Harry somewhere along the line, something along the line of Nutrigenics, and I can just picture the commercial. And you know what? My wife likes it too.
Well, again, I want to make sure that it's clear. I'm not saying that he's having an issue. I'm saying that the relationship is probably having an issue, and they're just not very interested in getting together. If that makes sense.
Okay, fine. Then they wind up on a session of couples therapy on cable. There you go. They get paid for that.
Like Metallica. Oh my God. The jersey came out. I went, are you kidding me?
God.
So, I'm going to agree a little bit with Rick because there is some gaslighting that's going on here with that 7 of Cups in reverse. So, does that mean that we're being fed a line? I think we're being fed a line, but I think everybody really knows it. However, we get this 2 of Wands a little bit later with a seed. This can be an egg right here. And then we get a success card, and this is going to blow everybody's mind under the surface. So, are they trying to put something together? Quite potentially, they're trying to put something together. I see right now that the 2 of them are not going to be able to hop in the sack together because they can't stand each other right now. So I'm just saying that, just to make it clear. I don't think you need to, Alice.
That takes out the idea of a reality series where they can make a lot of money on.
Well, truthfully, The reality series should have been something that they entertained quite early on. Again, not to belabor the point, I said when they left the royal family, Meghan should have gone immediately back to the TIG, which was her blog, her website, and she should have made Royally Yours. Royally Yours, we're going to teach you how to be royal, how to live royal on a beer budget. Christopher Lowell did that. He had a great show, and he would always say, he was an interior designer, and he would say champagne tastes on a beer budget, and he would make these amazing home refaces and tablescapes and entertaining. I have a bunch of his books upstairs. They're fabulous. He would do that so that people could live in a grand fashion, but on a normal, every person's budget. Now, with the collapse of our economy, Meghan Markle could have been into a really amazing market with that.
Yeah.
She could have grabbed on with two hands and been the anti-Gwyneth Paltrow. She could have done it, but she chose to go for the big bucks. She chose to be a little bit elitist about this while trying to say that she's authentic and organic and easy to relate to. So I think, this is a day late and a dollar short, bringing in another baby into the mix. Just my opinion.
Well, when you're going for big bucks, what's the last thing you want to do? Stop at a whammy. She stopped at the whammy.
She stopped at the whammy for sure.
Yeah.
Deb, I'm going to let you have the last word.
I'm going to say spay and neuter. That's it. Spay and neuter.
Boom!
Yeah, exactly. There you have it. Mic drop. We're done. Okay.
Wait, I'm gonna give Deb a psychic score on that one.
And with that in mind, since we got a little bit of time left, it's time for a quick hit. And this is an interesting quick hit. It comes from the couple that is Cameron Diaz and Benji Madden from Good Charlotte. They welcomed their second baby recently. That may not seem like a big deal, but Cameron having their second child at 51. Benji Madden is 45. Now, the baby, by the way, Cardinal Madden is the name. It is a baby boy. Now, Cameron Diaz has been out of the spotlight for about 10 years. She's only done maybe one or two talk shows, but her first film in 10 years is coming out later this year called Back in Action, kind of an appropriate title. Will feature her with Jamie Foxx, Kyle Chandler, and Glenn Close. Now, she's basically taken herself out of the spotlight. Her and Benji live in Australia. Part of the reason they moved to Australia, well, Benji became a very successful coach in the version of The Voice in Australia. He did 6 seasons over there and was considered one of the more popular coaches during his run. Good Charlotte's back doing music, and they don't tour the States that often. Why? Where are they the most successful? In Australia. So they've carved a great life for themselves down there. So for Cameron Diaz to go back to the acting world on a regular basis just may not be in the cards, every pun intended. That's what we need to look at. The future of Cameron Diaz as an actress. How active will she be from here on out, considering we were talking about only one film, her first in 10 years coming out soon?
So I pulled some cards on this, and I as a fan of Cameron Diaz, I do love her. Rob, you and I were, and Rick, we're all of an age that we were watching her movies. I'm a tremendous fan of hers, and I think she's really.
Notice that she didn't include me in that one.
I did. I said we're all of an age. All of us are of an age.
All right.
I think she's lovely. I think that she was discovered before the movie The Mask. She was an unknown before that. So I think it's really tremendous that she got to partner with Jim Carrey and do such an amazing fantasy movie with him. Was really great. And then she moved on to, Ben Stiller and lots of other people. So she's just done really, really well for herself. And I do think that she was one of the few 90s actresses that kind of stayed out of the fray and kept really cute and kept really engaging for all of us. But this spread, if we're talking about her return to regular, not feeling it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let my partners go first, my psychic partners here. What do you guys think? Are we gonna see her again on the reg?
No, I'm going to go with no on that.
No.
Me and Mrs. P was having a conversation last night purely about them having children. Now, I'm a big advocate as a family man, but after 50 plus, the thought of having youngsters around you, if they're not your grandkids, just like a big fat no for me. So if she's got the energy to go and do one film, fair play to her, because I'd be too knackered whether I got the talent or the ability or not. So, and the thing is as well, and I'm not just sort of casting this out, you ladies as well, when you have children, there's a lot of hormones at play that come into it. And if she's probably not going to want to leave her children, not every superstar wants to put their babies with a nanny and things like that. She's obviously chosen to have children at a later part in her life. And I think that due to her earlier successes, that she won't be short of money. I think she's built a life around there. But if you're known as an actress and an actor and things like that, and performances is in your blood, somebody puts the right amount of money on the table, you're going to come back for a cameo appearance, because it's a lot nicer to sleep on a very feathered mattress than an old bare one, isn't it? So, even people with lots of money can find somewhere to put that money, but longer term career, no. In my eyes, not even a doubt there. I think the lure of having younger children and needing the energy to look after those younger children will far outweigh the need to go off gallivanting. Oh, what a lovely old word that was, gallivanting somewhere. She doesn't need the red carpet. And my sort of feelings about her, that she's never been one that courts controversy or anything like that. She seems untouched by Hollywood. So for me, I don't think she'll come back longer term. I think it'll all be on her condition. So it's a no from me.
Deb, you seem to be in agreement.
Yeah, I don't. Looking at the cards, I think she's got a beautiful life. I've always liked her. I thought she was hysterical. And she's carved out a life for herself. And I think she left for a reason. And, it is Hollywood. I don't see her continuing. No.
I want to throw one wrinkle into this, and only because I'm a geek and I know this. There is a television series that is filmed down in Australia, and it is an offshoot of a very successful CBS series. They've been doing it on the streaming platform, NCIS Australia.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Now, I throw the caveat in there. If she can make it work while living with Benji and doing the family, that may make more sense for her at this stage of her career to maybe try episodic TV where she's living. Otherwise, I'm kind of with you guys, and I'm not a psychic. It just seems like the life she has carved out with her and Benji Madden has been so fulfilling. And if you've ever watched these two together, they're so much in love, it's sickening. I mean, they really are a great couple. And the other irony is that Benji's brother is married to Nicole Richie. They also live in Australia. So apparently,
really?
Everybody has found a good life in the land down under. We do wish Cameron good luck in the movie that's coming out before year's end. Again, it's called Back in Action with her, Jamie Foxx, Kyle Chandler, and Glenn Close. And that's all the time we have this week. Panel, well done. And by the way, if you are following our socials, we'll go around the horn. Rick, give your information if they want to look you up.
mediumrick007@gmail.com. And also, just wish me luck, because next week I'm heading down to Stonehenge to be reading on the site, and I'll survive the energies down there around the solstice, and I might even come back with some hair. So there's hope for me yet.
Because if you come back with hair, that I'm going there next. What are you kidding? Deb,
the world's oldest hippie. The world's oldest hippie.
Deb, you're up. Where can they find you?
Tarot and Paws, and I'm getting better with YouTube and learning, so I'm doing it.
Annabelle?
So I got a lot going on. You can find me at Fortune Cookies Tarot by Annabelle here on all social media. I'm Sloppy Shuffle Tarot on TikTok, learning that platform now in my advanced age. I also will be on live this Friday with Alicia Wicker at 7:30 East Coast time, 4:30 West Coast time. For next week, we are going to be off. Rick is going to be in Stonehenge,
Lucky
getting
shit.
some crazy vibes out there. And the rest of us have a few obligations. So we're going to be off next week. We'll try and do some production for you. We will also be off for the 4th of July because it is the general election in the United Kingdom and it is the 4th of July holiday here. So Rob and Debbie and I will be stuffing ourselves with barbecue and laying out by a pool or at the beach someplace. So, but we're going to do some production in the meantime for you guys. We will be back live the following week. So be sure to stick around and subscribe to PNR so that you can get the notifications for it.
When we're on usually on Thursdays, 1:15 Eastern time, that is 10:15 in the Pacific time, 6:15 over where Rick is in London time. Guys, enjoy the week off. Rick, all the best on the Stonehenge trip. Until we meet again in a couple weeks, we will definitely see you in the future.